The Knicks just finished beating the Milwaukee Bucks by the score of 122 to 109, and I'm here to break it all down. All that and much more on the Knicks Digest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel. Like I said, the Knicks went into Milwaukee and picked up this huge win against the Milwaukee Bucks, one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. Actually, let me take that back. Not one of the better teams, just one of the leaders in the Eastern Conference. Right now, Milwaukee Bucks, they're absolutely reeling. Last week, they lost to Toronto. They lost to Washington Wizards. They lost to the Memphis Grizzlies. And tonight, they lost against the New York Knicks. Whenever you have the duo of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard, out of those teams that I just listed, even including us, the New York Knicks, without our Julius Randle, the Milwaukee Bucks should be winning these games, but the Knicks went into Milwaukee and they picked up a huge win. Of course, we got to talk about our guy Jalen Brunson, who's been on an absolute scorcher as of late, scoring 43 points, converting 16 of 32 from the field, 2 of 6 from three-point, converting 9 of his 11 free throws, ending the game with six rebounds and 8 assists. And the other Nova boy, Dante DiVincenzo, contributed to the game, 26 points, 8 of 14 from the field, 8 of 11 from three-point land, converting 2 of his free throws, grabbing 4 rebounds and 3 assists. Dante DiVincenzo, man, especially as of late, I feel like around the time where he clinched that record of, I believe it was the most threes in a game, ever since that time, Dante DiVincenzo, man, like every time the ball's going up, I'm expecting it for it to go in. And he is thoroughly surprising me. The more and more he plays, the more and more I see his athleticism on the court, the more and more I see his shot selection. Sometimes it's not great, but whenever he has an open three or the ball is rotating and it has good energy going throughout the court, and Dante ends up with the ball with the important three-pointer, like I'm expecting for it to go in. So huge shout out to Dante DiVincenzo. Isaiah Hartenstein had a really good game as well. 18 points, 8 of 9 from the field. Thankfully, no three-pointers. 2 of 3 from the free throw land, grabbing 10 rebounds and 1 assist. Isaiah Hartenstein, man, he had countless plays tonight where it was the important play that got us over the hump. The one that's popping into my mind right now was when he dove for the loose ball. He punched the ball towards Dante DiVincenzo, and then Dante gave the pass to Bogdanovich, and Bogdanovich laid it up. That was a very important sequence. He had a few blocks in the game. He was guarding Brook Lopez as best as he could. Brook Lopez, man, if the Milwaukee Bucks had a little bit better chemistry and they were in a little bit of a better groove, Brook Lopez is going to be a real problem in the playoffs. A 5 that can really stretch the floor. That's one thing I noticed tonight with Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein. They both did the best that they could, but there were certain times where I thought Brook Lopez was going to get this three-pointer off. Sometimes he kind of bailed the defense out and he just didn't take it, and he tried to drive to the lane, and then that's where we got OG and Anunoby just trying to get the deflections, trying to swipe at the ball. OG and Anunoby, man, not a great game. 4 points, 2 of 10 from the field, 0 of 5 from three-point, grabbing 3 rebounds and 2 assists. Defensively, OG Anunoby was everything that we needed. He was everything that we thought of. And like I said a little bit earlier, he had these important plays where he was swiping at the ball and we got a nice deflection. We got a nice steal. I think he had a couple of those on Giannis Antetokounmpo. He had one against Brook Lopez that I just saw. But what I'm a little concerned about is I'm concerned about OG Anunoby's elbow, specifically when he's shooting the ball. There were about 2 or 3 times where I saw OG's shot look completely flat. And where my mind goes, I'm thinking that his elbow is hurting him, and that's why we're able to see it a little bit more on the offensive end. Defensively, him just swiping at the ball, I feel like that's not really putting a lot of strain on the elbow. But with his shot, he's raising his arm, then he's extending his arm with the shot, and a lot of that has to do with your elbow. So I don't know. I just feel like he's playing through some pain right now, and that's something to definitely keep an eye on. But in my opinion, the two, besides Jalen Brunson, because we know Jalen Brunson is Mr. Clark Kent, Mr. Superman, Mr. Nick himself, the 2 players that really stepped it up today, one was Deuce. Deuce today, if you're looking at the stat sheet, it's not really going to pop out to you. He had 8 points, converting three of his 6 field goals, 2 of 4 from three-point land, grabbing 2 rebounds and 1 assist. But those 3 field goals and those 2 3-point field goals were at key moments of the game. Specifically when Jalen Brunson was on the bench, Deuce I keep saying this video in and video out. Deuce is impressing me with taking on not the responsibility, but just taking the shots that are available to him. Many times I see players when they're on the floor, they're looking to not make a mistake. And Deuce is the complete opposite. When he's on the floor, he is looking to actually make an impact on the game. And those 3 field goals, those 2 3-point field goals, they were at key moments in the game that really helped us extend the lead. And salute to Deuce. And the other player is, I think, the most important player going down the stretch and going into the playoffs. We need this guy to start getting rolling. Bojan Bogdanovic, 15 points, 6 of 9 from the field, 1 3-point attempt, which he made, 2 free throws, grabbing 1 rebound and 1 assist. What I liked from Bogey tonight was how aggressive he was in trying to get his shot. And on top of that, it was going in. Friday, I believe the game was on Friday, against the Chicago Bulls. He was being aggressive and taking his shot, but I didn't really see him in a nice offensive groove. In the first half, more specifically, he looked like he was getting his shots that he wanted, but he was actually converting on those shots. And before I forget, I know this is not a Milwaukee Buck YouTube channel, but man, what are the Bucks doing, yo? Doc Rivers, I don't know what the hell he's doing. I believe before going into tonight's game, he was 15 and 16. When he became the Bucks head coach, and now with this loss, he's 15 and 17. But yo, the Bucks were like down 10 with I think a minute and 20 seconds left, and Doc Rivers, he actually took out his starters and he just waved the white flag and he just put in the bench players. Like with being down 10 points with 1 minute and 20 seconds, that's plenty of time to see if something can happen. We've seen some crazier things in the NBA. And Doc Rivers, man, was specifically with this last week that he had, like I said in the beginning of this video, losing to Toronto Raptors, the Wizards, the Memphis Grizzlies, us without a Julius Randle. Like, you have Giannis and you have Dame, 2 top 75 players. They seem like they're not on the same page. The chemistry looks a little weird. And I don't know what's going on with the Milwaukee Bucks, man. But obviously, I'm a Knicks fan, so that's not my problem. I'm just very interested to see how the Bucks fare out in the playoffs. But going back to the Knicks, another thing that I noticed that I'm really starting to like, I'm starting to like Mitchell Robinson getting his legs underneath him. We saw Mitchell Robinson block Giannis Antetokounmpo's shot, sending it to like the second row. We saw Mitchell Robinson. What I saw from him, I just saw him being a little bit more fluid within the game, grabbing rebounds, the block shots that I saw. And the more and more reps he's going to get, I believe after tonight we have 4 games left, 2 of them against the Chicago Bulls. We got Brooklyn and one of the teams, I forgot who we have left. But Mitchell Robinson, he just needs to get the reps up. He needs to get his legs underneath him, which it looks like tonight, no injuries. And it looks like tonight he wasn't laboring that leg or that ankle. So the more and more we can get Mitchell Robinson out on the court with no injuries, the better it's going to fare for us in the long run. Before I wrap up the video, I don't want to minuscule Jalen Brunson's impact that he's had on this team. After last season, where we lost in the second round of the playoffs, I've been a strong advocate of saying that Jalen Brunson has the opportunity to go down as one of, if not the best Knick of all time. Now, he has a lot to do in order to get to that stage. He has to make it to the playoffs enough times. He has to make deep playoff runs. He has to get to Eastern Conference Finals. He has to get to a finals. And if willingly he actually gets to the finals and wins, that's going to catapult him. But what I want to talk about a little bit more specifically is Jalen Brunson's just run as of late. Tonight ended the game with 43 points. On Friday against the Chicago Bulls, he had 35 points. Obviously, there was that game against the San Antonio Spurs, which I believe was last Friday, where he dropped a 61 burger. He is only behind Carmelo Anthony as far as Knicks players to score the most points. And Carmelo Anthony has 62. Jalen Brunson was only 1 point behind him. And man, I'm just more and more impressed with Jalen Brunson and what he's able to bring to the game. Prior to the game on Friday against the Chicago Bulls, we played against the Sacramento Kings where we caught that W. Jalen Brunson had 35 points. Before the Sacramento Kings, we went up against the Miami Heat. That game was a little bit of a downer. He had 20 points. But before that game, we had that game on Sunday, which was last week against the Oklahoma City Thunder, where we lost on SGA's game-winning field goal. But in that game, he had 30 points. So I'm just saying that Jalen Brunson's effort and Jalen Brunson's impact that he's had on the game cannot go unnoticed. He is putting a run that is unlike we've ever seen from a New York point guard. And you can see that he's starting to ramp himself up into the playoffs. And I'm super excited to see what he's going to be able to do in the playoffs. And looking at the standings right now, if we were to finish right now, we're actually getting a rematch in the first round against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The standings in the Eastern Conference is very fluid. It's going up and down. The Knicks are going from the 4th to the 5th. Sometimes they go into the 3rd seed. So it's very up and down. We can still see the Orlando Magic in the first round. But again, it depends on the other team's wins, the other team's losses. We could also see Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round. So not sure exactly who we're going to see in the first round, but one thing I can super guarantee is that Jalen Brunson is going to come to play. And if Jalen Brunson is on the court healthy, I like our chances. But that's it for today's video, guys. I want to say thank you for checking it out. Leave it in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought of the Knicks' effort tonight against the Milwaukee Bucks, against 2 top 75 players of all time, Dame and Giannis Antetokounmpo. But until next time, you guys know the drill. You know the vibes. Taj Gibson for president. Jalen Brunson for all the MVPs. Deuce for co-MVP. And we out. Peace. Go Knicks, baby.